Hi, I'm Tony Antonelli of the STS-132 crew, and you're watching NASA TV.
Good morning, Atlantis. A special good morning to you today, Tony.
And good morning, Houston. It's a great place to wake up, and now a great song to wake up to. I'd like to say thanks to my family, Janine, Michael, and Danny. And then also that was a little shout out to Marshall Space Flight Center for all they do to get the space shuttles up in orbit. Thanks.
Atlantis, good config for the burn.
Copy, good config. And we're looking at space station on the nose in the daytime. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and stations look at a camera on you, and we're looking right back at you. It's pretty cool from here as well.
Awesome.
2 engines will fire for 1 minute 3 seconds, changing the velocity by 100 feet per second, or about 68 miles per hour. This will raise the perigee, or the low end of Atlantis' orbit, from 145 up to 210 statute miles, and the apogee, or high end of Atlantis' orbit, from 212 up to 214 statute miles. A clear view of the start of the NC4 burn with both engines firing. Again, this is a little more than 1 minute burn. Aboard Space Shuttle Atlantis, up on the flight deck, Mission Specialist Piers Sellers there on the left. Mission Specialist Steve Bowen, one of the spacewalkers. You see his back to the camera on the right in this view, looking at the aft flight station.
Atlantis, good config for the burn.
We were ready. Copy, good config.
This will be a 12-second firing of the left orbital maneuvering system engine, a delta V, or total change in velocity, of 9.6 feet per second, or about 6.5 miles per hour.
Good burn, Atlantis.
Copy, good burn.
First views using the sequential still photo imagery from Space Shuttle Atlantis of the International Space Station. The current range is just under 39,000 feet. about 7.5 statute miles away. The space shuttle and the space station should be moving into an orbital sunrise as they approach the upper central coastline of Chile.
Hey, you guys look gorgeous, man. In the windows.
Why, thank you.
The International Space Station, a still image taken from Space Shuttle Atlantis, the range 2,600 feet. "700 feet directly beneath the International Space Station, Space Shuttle Atlantis on its 32nd voyage into space, approaching the International Space Station from underneath in the payload bay. All of the equipment that will be left behind on the International Space Station in the forward portion of the payload bay, of course, the docking system. And next is the integrated cargo carrier housing a new space-to-ground antenna, and the 6 batteries that will be swapped, the new ones for the existing batteries on the P6 truss element of the station. In the back end, the Russian mini research module, Rassvet, the Russian word for dawn.
And station in Houston, Atlantis is initiating the RPM in 2, 1, mark.
Start RPM.
The R-bar pitch maneuver underway under control and command of Shuttle Commander Ken Ham. That maneuver initiated just as the 2 spacecraft crossed the southern coast of Portugal. The swing will take it across Spain and France, and then out across Central Europe, northern portions of Italy, and then out across Poland before swinging out across Russia.
And station, start photos.
Copy. Stop bottom side.
Station crew given the go to start the photos. They're conducting the photography across the entire underside of Atlantis's thermal protection system. And Atlantis is now approaching the velocity vector directly in front of the docking port, the pressurized mating adapter on the Harmony module.
Atlantis and station on the big loop. On behalf of both the shuttle and station flight control rooms, your go for docking.
Atlantis copies, go for docking. Thank you.
Ten feet. Post-contact thrust is armed. Standing by for contact and capture.
Houston and station capture confirmed.
Atlantis station, ISS free drift, double positive, yokoso and welcome to station.
Copy, station free drift. Thanks, Soichi.
You're welcome, John. Great flying. Space shuttle Atlantis arriving.
220 miles above the South Pacific, Atlantis has arrived at the International Space Station, the first visit of Atlantis in 6 months since the STS-129 mission last November. The docking took place at 9:28 a.m. Central Time, 1 day, 20 hours, 8 minutes into Atlantis's voyage to the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston. The hatches between the two spacecraft now open, 11:18 a.m. Central Time, 1 day, 21 hours, 58 minutes into Atlantis's mission. The official joint operations between Atlantis and the International Space Station begins. The complex orbiting 212 miles above the upper northeastern portion of the Pacific Ocean as Atlantis and the International Space Station track off the coast of Ecuador, just about to fly high above Panama and the Gulf of Mexico. Commander Ken Ham, second visit to the International Space Station. He's the commander of STS-132. Next is Michael Good, his first visit to the International Space Station, his second mission in space. He flew aboard Atlantis a year ago this month as part of the Hubble Space Telescope servicing mission crew on STS-125. Garrett Reisman, an Expedition 1617 crew member, very familiar with the International Space Station. His second visit to the complex. Behind him, pilot Tony Antonelli. He flew as part of the STS-119 crew.
In Houston Station, big loop on 1 and Atlantis crew on the port highest bed. Yes, sir.
Houston copies all. It's great.
And again, it's our pleasure to welcome them and to see them here, and so really glad, and so that's really big event for us, and bringing us a new Russian module to station. And for almost all of us on board Atlantis, we've been here before, but it's bigger than we remember, and speaking for myself, better than I remember. I love this place.
Logger, and we'll start with Jam, maybe. With Jam, we go to Columbus and forth to the station. And I touch the Russian side very slightly, just to show the general aspects of the Russian segment. And again, you're always welcome to Russian segment. Whenever you want to use Russian videos to take a picture if you need, so feel free to. And we want one exception. We really want to see the Soyuz take its seats in the Soviet ask me or Sasha, and anytime we have a program, you show everything. You know, the Soyuz is actually there's one button situation, so
that's the same for you. If you want to come over to the mid deck, please come over anytime you want. And for the flight deck, just make sure one of us is around. Okay. Any one of us is great.
So we'll start with Jim. Soyuz. ISS-4 from the SF. For tomorrow, for when we put the antenna on top, that might be the only window you can get. You'll be able to get camera views of us planting the antenna.
You know what I just discovered was that the P1 lower inboard camera, you can actually see the top of the window.
Really?
Yeah. Not nearly on the starboard side, where you guys be, but that little gap between the trusses. C1 and S0.
That's cool.
I never knew. I was just playing with cameras.
It's my good
driving.
The robotics officer inside the space station flight control room is confirming that the integrated cargo carrier is now being lifted out of Atlantis' payload bay. The retention latches that held it down inside have been released. So the station's arm is now in control of lifting that out and flying it over to where it will shortly be installed on the mobile base structure. This cargo carrier has spare parts on both the front and the back side of it. On the back side are the batteries that will be installed on the second and the third spacewalk of this mission. On the front side, it's the spare space-to-ground antenna, which you can see extremely visibly there. Along with it is its boom that it will be installed upon. There's also a brand new work site for the Dexter robotic system that is also there. It has 3 different sides on it that Dexter can basically stand on top of and use the different sides to store the different parts that it's working on so that it can free up its arms and continue its work. All of this will be installed on the first spacewalk of the mission, which will take place tomorrow.
Houston ISS Rovo, ready to go OCAS to intermediate 1.
Houston's ready.
There at the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can see the spare space-to-ground antenna. That is its boom that is laying there from left to right at the very bottom of this cargo pallet. That space-to-ground antenna is about 6 feet by 6 feet wide, just to give you a sense of exactly how big it is. As the station's robotic arm continues to move this cargo pallet up toward the mobile base structure, the station and the shuttle are currently over the Pacific Ocean. They're heading toward the northeast. They'll soon be crossing the western edge of Mexico and crossing out over parts of New Mexico and Texas, and then continuing to head toward the northeast up over Canada. You can see the Quest airlock there on the far right-hand portion of the screen there. And that is also going to be the scene of quite a bit of activity over the next couple of hours, as the crew gets ready to review the procedures for tomorrow's spacewalk. This will be the first of the mission. It'll be conducted by Garrett Reisman and Steve Bowen. They will be camping out tonight inside that Quest airlock at a reduced atmosphere. They're going to take it down to 10.2 psi. This will allow them to get their bodies prepared, get all the nitrogen out of their bloodstreams, and it reduces the amount of time that they have to spend getting ready tomorrow morning before they head out of the door. The robotics officer inside the space station flight control room is confirming that the arm with this integrated cargo carrier on the end of it is at the pre-install position. This is basically the next to last step before they will push this cargo carrier down toward where it's going to be mounted on the mobile base system. In this view, you can see the Dexter robot there at the top center part of your screen. Part of this cargo carrier has some spare parts for Dexter to use. There's sort of a worksite platform that Dexter will be able to be mounted on top of that has 3 different sides to it, so that if Dexter is working with its 2 arms that you see there, it can actually pick up something outside the station, store it down on that worksite platform, one of the sides of it, which will free up its arm to do some more work.
Rovo going into maneuver to the grapple.
We copy, Piers. We're ready.
The crew is steadily working to get this integrated cargo carrier successfully installed on the mobile base system. There's a payload attachment point on there that this will be mounted on.
Houston Station 1 for SSRMS. We show ourselves at the end of step 11.2.
We copy, Tracy. Thanks for all the great work. We'll take it from here. And as you know, if you do see the things moving outside, we will be continuing with robo-ops for the next quite a few hours.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the great support, you guys.
Once they get a verification that this cargo carrier is adequately attached to this payload attachment point on the outside of the station's arm will be released and will back away from it. and its job will be wrapped up for the day. Meanwhile, Garrett Reisman, Steve Bowen are currently inside the Quest airlock. They're wearing some oxygen masks at this point in time. This is all standard procedure for them to breathe some enriched oxygen for about 45 minutes. They will be able to close the hatch between Quest and the rest of the station coming up in about 15 minutes or so. And then once that is done, they will reduce the pressure inside Quest from 14.4, where it's at right now, down to 10.2 psi, and that is where it will stay overnight.